Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to show you how to crochet the perfect granny square tote bag. This is very easy to make. It's very beginner friendly as well. It's very stylish, very spacious, and I'm going to also show you how to make bag straps that do not stretch as much. So without any further ado, let's get right into today's video. Okay, so first let's talk about the materials that we're going to be using for today's project. So we're going to need yarn in 3 different colors. So I have this regular DK yarn in the shade Cream. The shade is on the packet on the side, so if you have the same brand, you can just get color 256 in the shade Cream, and here is the brand of yarn that I'm using. So I like to use 3 different colors for these tote bags. So that's color number 1, and then color number 2 is this really nice brown color, and this is in the shade Chocolate, and it's 2297 chocolate color, and I feel like it goes so well with the cream. And then lastly we have white, and I rarely use white to crochet, but I feel like these 3 colors will go really well together. And yeah, it's just in the shade white, so you don't really need the number code, but if you're interested, it's 208 white. And all this yarn is compatible with a 4mm crochet hook, so that's what I'll be using today. And then we're also going to need a sewing needle so we can weave in all of our loose ends from all of our color changes. Not really the best process, but it really does help make your work look nice and neat. Lastly, we're going to be using a pair of scissors so we can fasten our work off and cut all the loose ends of yarn. Okay, so this bag is made up using granny squares. So we're going to start off by making our first granny square together. So I'm going to start with my cream yarn. I want to go in the order cream, brown, white, and we're going to make our granny square with a total of 5 rounds. So we're going to end on brown. So you can do in whatever order you want for the different colors that you also have. So we're going to start off with a magic circle. So you're going to wrap the yarn around your fingers like this. So on this side we have an X, and on this side it's just 2 strands of yarn that do not overlap. So this side we have the X, this side we don't. So I'm going to grab my crochet hook and get the yarn that's underneath and then twist it towards me like so. Then I'm going to hold my yarn and then chain 1 to secure the magic circle. And I have an in-depth tutorial on how to make granny squares if you want to watch that. I feel like that one will be a lot more beginner friendly. So after we chained 1, we're going to chain 2 more. So we have a total of 3 chains on our crochet hook. Now we're going to insert 2 double crochets into the round. So that's 1, and then that is 2. So this is what the cluster should look like. Let me focus the camera. So this is what the cluster should look like. And now we're going to chain 2 and then insert 3 double crochets inside the magic circle. So that chain 2 signifies our first corner space. So for a square, of course, we need 4 corners, but we're going to do the last corner a little bit differently to how we're doing these corners in the meantime. So now we're going to go ahead and chain 2 more and then insert 3 double crochets into that chain, into the magic circle, sorry. And here we have 2 corners, so we're going to go ahead and make our last one. So chain 2 and then do 3 double crochets inside the magic circle. Okay, so here we have 3 corners, 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to grab the tail end of our magic circle and pull it really tight. And this is beginning to look like a square already, but as you can see, we are missing 1 corner space. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then slip stitch into the top of our chain 2 on our previous round, like so. And then this is the beginning of our granny square. It always does look a bit awkward, especially with this gap here, but the more rounds we do, the more square like it will be. So now in the next stitch here, I'm going to just make a slip stitch, and then in the next stitch here as well, before the one before the gap, we're going to insert our hook and then pull up a loop. And we're not going to go through with the cream yarn. Hold on, I just missed a stitch. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're not going to go in with the cream yarn. I'm going to change colors now. So we should have 2 loops on our crochet hook. So the next color that I want to change it to is this brown yarn. So I'm going to set the cream aside, grab my brown yarn, and then put it over my hook like this, and then pull both of those loops through. So here I've changed the color. So I'm going to drop the cream yarn and pick up the brown yarn, and then insert my hook into the next stitch with a slip stitch. And this is how we change colors. And you just want to pull the yarn a bit tight as well, just so the loops stay nice and tight. Now to start the next round, we're going to chain 3. And once we have a chain 3, we're going to start working into this first corner space. Okay, so here we have a chain 3. Now we're going to insert 2 double crochets into that chain space, into the corner space, sorry. Okay, so here are our chain 3s. This is my first time recording with my camera, so it's going to go in and out of focus a few times, but hopefully it works. So now we're going to chain 2. Oops. And then insert 3 more double crochets into that space. So this is how we're going to work our corner spaces. So in every single corner, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So now we're going to go into the next corner space and repeat the process that we just did. We're not going to chain anything to move to the next space, but you can if you want, but I just prefer how it looks without chaining first. So in this space, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And this is what it should be looking like now. And then in the next stitch, we're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all in the same space. So chain 2 now, and then 3 double crochets. And then I just have one more corner to make. Now in the top of our work here, we're just going to make a slip stitch, and then that is round 2 complete. But now we're going to make a slip stitch in the next stitch, and then in the next stitch as well, but we're not going to pull the yarn all the way through. So I'm going to grab my next color of yarn, and that is white, and you guys can also get your next color of yarn as well. And then I'm going to wrap the yarn around the hook like this and pull straight through. And now I'm just going to make a slip stitch into our corner space, like so. And now we can start round 3. So to start every single round, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to make our corner space. So that's where you put in 2 more double crochets, because the chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So in total we have 3, and now we're going to chain 2 and then insert 3 more double crochets into this corner space. And now, as you can see, we have more than just the corner space. We also have these middle gaps. So in the middle gaps, we're just going to insert 3 double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And here we have a total of 3 double crochets. If I'm going a little bit fast, is because I already have a tutorial on how to make granny squares, and if you already know how to make granny squares and you just want to learn how to assemble the bag, then this tutorial is also like really good for you. But it's not like an in-depth beginner tutorial, but hopefully if you're a beginner you can still follow along if you know all the basic stitches. But I highly recommend that you see my little video on granny squares for beginners. So we're going to go into our next stitch here, and we're going to make our corner stitch, which consists of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And now we're just going to repeat this process all the way around. So in this space, we're just going to do 3 double crochets, and then in this space here, we're going to do our 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then just repeat until you reach the end of the round. So here I'm doing my 3 double crochets. I just finished my round in white, and now I'm switching the color back to cream, and then I'm going to chain 3 to start my round, and then just repeat the same steps that I was doing in the previous rounds. So in each corner space, just so I can repeat again so you guys don't get confused. So in the corner space, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then in the non-corner spaces, which are the gaps over here, we're just going to do 3 double crochets in each space. So I'm going to meet you guys when I actually finish this first granny square, because like I said, the rest of the steps are pretty repetitive and you should be able to get the hang of it. It's really not that hard. It's just remembering the patterns and where to put all the stitches. But as the more that you do, the more that you crochet, then the more you will understand and the more you'll get the hang of it. So if you have any trouble making these granny squares, feel free to check on the video in the link in the description box below, or you can rewind this video and see what I'm doing specifically. But yeah, I'm gonna finish off this cream round and then move on to brown, and then we will fasten off together. I just realized these colors kind of remind me of s'mores. Like you have the brown for the chocolate, and then the cream for like the graham cracker, and then the white for the marshmallow. But anyway, these colors really look nice and cute together. So let's finish off this granny square together. So I just have one more gap piece left to do. So I'm going to insert 3 double crochets. Okay, so now in the top of my work, I'm just going to make a slip stitch and chain 1, and then we can fasten off. So I'm just going to cut my yarn in the back and also cut this brown yarn here as well. So here is our first granny square complete. This is so pretty, and I really like the colors, and I will definitely be using this bag because I made another one in like some berry colors. I would use it, but I think this is more me. If only I got a different shade of cream. I don't know, hopefully I'll like it at some point. You know, when you're crocheting you just don't like the colors automatically, but then the more you crochet the more you actually appreciate the colors. So I feel like that's what it is for me right now. So let me just discuss the layout of the bag for you before we continue. Okay, so here is the layout for our perfect granny square tote. So for the front panels, we're going to need a total of 8 squares. So each panel is going to look like this, with square number 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and they're going to be sewn together, and then we need the exact same piece for the back. So that's why I put we need a total of 8 squares. So now for the bottom on the sides of the bag, it's a little bit different. So we're going to need 2 squares going up the side of the bag. So it's going to connect to these 2 granny squares. And then we need 2 squares for the bottom as well, which is going to connect to the bottom of our bag here as well. And then exactly the same on this side, we also need 2 to go up the other side, which is here. So that's going to give our bag a lot more space. And as you can see, we need a total of 6 granny squares. So for the bottom and the sides, we need 6. So 8 add 6 is 14. So we're going to need a total of 14 granny squares. And here we just finished making granny square number 1, so we have 13 more to make. So let's get right into it, and it will take a little bit of time, but it's definitely worth it when you have all the squares nice and ready. Okay, so now that we have all of the squares made, we can now start assembling the bag. So back to this diagram, we're going to start off by making the front and the back panels. So this is very simple, and also I'm not going to be sewing them together. I'm just going to use a regular slip stitch because I feel like it's a lot neater and it's a lot stronger as well to connect the bag with. My sewing with yarn is not really amazing, so I would rather slip stitch everything together. So you're going to need a total of 4 squares for our front and back panel, so we're going to set the rest aside. So starting off, let me just show you guys the layout. So we're going to have 2 squares there, 2 squares here, and then we're going to just join everything together. So you're going to place your squares wrong side to wrong side like this. You can kind of tell the difference between the wrong and the right side. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. I know it's a very slight difference, but when you're crocheting you should know, because the wrong side is where you weaved in all of your loose ends and we don't really want that side on the outside. Okay, so once you have placed them together like this in a little crochet granny square sandwich, we're going to start slip stitching all the way across the top. I'm going to start off with a slip knot like so, and then I'm going to grab my square, and then you want to put the crochet hook in the actual stitches, not the gaps, because I found that they're a lot neater when you go at the top of the stitches and not inside the corner spaces. So we're just going to find the first double crochet and then put our hook through, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So here we went through 2 stitches. Now we're going to grab our slip knot and then place it on the crochet hook and make sure that it's nice and tight. Now we can begin making our slip stitches. So first what we're going to do is pull the yarn through those 2 stitches and then chain 1 to secure. I chain 1 to secure everything, so the yarn just doesn't unravel or anything, and it's nice and neat and tight. So at the beginning of the slip stitching, it can be a little bit hard because we're trying to go through the chain spaces in the corner spaces that we made. So I just put my hook inside one of the stitches. So in the back, we're going to go and put our hook in the other side as well, and then pull the yarn straight through. So now you want to do that in every single stitch until you reach the end. So I'm going to go in through this stitch next, insert my hook, and make sure you're going through both sides as well so they're nicely slip stitched together. Also, another tip, do not make your slip stitches too tight because your yarn will bunch together and then your squares will look a bit crinkled. We want to make the tension quite loose, so like medium tension, not too loose, not too tight. And this is perfect for holding together, and they'll actually lay flat if you don't do them too tight. And if you do them too loose, they're just going to be like gaps in your work, and we don't want that to happen either. And this does take a little bit of practice, a bit of trial and error, but once you get the hang of it, you should be perfectly fine. You can also check if you're doing it too tight on the other side of your work. So if you see your work bunching together, you should try and loosen your tension. Okay, so now we're reaching the end and we're at a corner space. So now we just need to put our hook through the chain stitches, not inside the gap, just through the stitches. And I could make one more. I know we're right at the end, but I'm going to go in the other chain two that we made because we made 2 chains in each stitch. So now we're going to chain 1 and then we can fasten off. I'm just going to grab my pair of scissors and then cut the yarn and then pull this as tight as you can. And then if you look on this side, it's neatly slip stitched together, not too tight and not too loose at all. So we have the first row done. So now we're going to grab our other squares and do exactly the same, and then I'll come back to you guys when we're going to join both the lines together. Okay, so now that I've done both rows, I'm now going to stitch them both together so we can make that square shape. I've been talking for a very long time and my throat kind of hurts if you're wondering why I sound very tired all of a sudden, and it is also getting late, but I want to try and assemble the bag at least before the next day. But anyways, we're now going to slip stitch all the way across this piece, so just along the top. So we're going to start just like how we started joining the other 2 squares together. So I'm going to make a slip knot, just place that down real quick, and then find the 2 stitches that I need to place my crochet hook inside, and it's this one and this one. And then I'm going to grab my slip knot and then pull it tight. And I'm going to chain 1 like so. And now we're just going to slip stitch in every single stitch all the way across the piece. And you can sew this together if you want, but I would 100% recommend that you slip stitch instead. Not only is it faster, it's also a lot neater. But if you're an expert at sewing yarn, then by all means go for it. But me personally, I don't really like doing it. But I'll do it if I have to. But I rarely have to because I would prefer to use slip stitches. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. So it depends on what you prefer. So I'm just going to continue doing this. And also, it didn't really take me that long to make these squares. I remember when I made the berry themed bag with the pink, the red, and the white. It took me like almost 3 days, and I literally completed all 14 squares in just a couple of hours. So I don't really know what was going on with that bag. But yeah, it should take around 2 days to finish. Obviously like not full days, but like it can go into the next day. Because we still have to make the border around the bag and the straps, and then we also have to add lining. So hopefully we can finish the entire bag tomorrow, then go out and take pictures of the bag as well. And I really love taking pictures of the things that I make. I used to actually hate it, but now especially since I started up an Instagram page, I kind of have to take pictures and in nice locations and everything. But I like thinking of the locations to take photos, though that's not too bad. Like these colors just remind me of like a university library or like a library in general, like the type of bag that you'll take on like a little study date or something. So I'm going to take pictures in the library, so make sure to follow me on Instagram so you guys can see how those pictures turned out. Okay, so once you slip stitched everything together, this is what the front panel of the bag should look like, and this is what the back looks like. I will weave in all of the ends in a little bit. I just want to sew everything together now, and then I'll weave in the ends probably tonight before I go to sleep. And you want to make another piece that is identical to that. So here we have it. So here we have the front of the bag and the back of the bag. Now we just need to make the piece that goes all the way around the bag to make it a bit bigger. Because right now this actually looks like so small for a tote bag. But trust me, once you add the pieces that go all around the bag, it's going to be very big, very spacious. So let's just set this aside and get our squares that we have left. So we should have 6 squares left. So we have 2 here, 2, 4, 6. Okay. So joining these squares is a very repetitive process. So just like how I was joining them before, how I showed you, we want to do exactly the same with this. But the only difference is that we literally just need to join them all together like this. So we just want to join them all in a row that goes all the way along. So we're going to start off with the first 2 squares. So you want to flip them right side to right side, and then you just want to keep sewing them right side to right side. So I'm going to join 2 together first, and then I'll show you guys how to join the third one. And then once you join the third one, the entire process is very repetitive. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this one off camera. Okay, so once you've attached these 2 squares together, to join the next one, you just flip it over and then slip stitch across the top. We can do this one together, I really don't mind, just so you guys don't have to like skip part of the video and then rewind to try and find where I was sewing them together. So we just made the slip knot, which I just put to the side over here, and I'm going to grab my crochet hook and then place it in one of the stitches at the top of the corner and then the other stitch in the back to make sure that we're joining the 2 pieces together. And then I'm going to grab my slip knot and make sure that it's really tight, and then I'm going to pull this through, chain 1 to secure, and then we can begin making our slip stitches. So lately, I've really been thinking about the things that I crochet. So I want to be more mindful with what I crochet. I don't just want to make things because they look cute or they look like very aesthetic. I also need to think to myself, would I actually wear this? And like, would I actually wear this in public? So I chose these colors of the bag because I love the color brown, first of all. Like, I own a lot of brown clothes, a lot of dresses and skirts that I have a brown, and I love like a good brown leather bag as well. I have these brown Crocs as well in this like really nice shade. So yeah, I just love the color a lot. So I decided to crochet the bag in these colors, and I always need like a very spacious tote bag because when I go out I always like to pack a few things with me, whether it's a book, my tablet, my laptop, obviously like my glasses case and lip gloss. I just like putting them in a nice bag. So I knew that if I make this bag in these colors, I would 100% wear it out in public. And I actually want to challenge myself to actually start using my things in public as well. I don't have that many crochet wearables, to be honest. I do have like a decent amount, but the weather's like really hot, so I wouldn't really wear them in public now because they're mostly like sweaters and like thick cardigans, and yeah, I would probably melt if I wore those in public. So I want to make some summer friendly sweaters as well. I think that will be my next video, a little crochet with me making some summer themed wearables. I feel like I am a bit late to the trend of crocheting my summer wardrobe. So I need to get on to that trend, at least make a few pieces for the summer. And if I do end up going to Zimbabwe this year, I can also wear them there because the weather is really hot. So we'll see what we can do. And here I just joined the 3 squares together. So all you have to do now to join the other ones is grab the square, flip it over, slip stitch across the top, and just keep doing that until you have a chain of 6 granny squares. If you can hear like slight talking in the background, my brother's on the phone, so hopefully it doesn't really overpower my audio. So anyways, this is what the piece should look like now that everything is nicely joined together. So now we need to join this piece to our front or back panel. It doesn't really matter which piece. So we're gonna join let me explain to you guys. Okay, so we're gonna join 2 squares of our row of 6 on this side, 2 along the bottom, and then 2 along the top. So that's gonna make a total of 6. So we're gonna place the squares right side to right side, and as you can see, we're just sewing 2 of them. So we're just going to quickly slip stitch across here, and I'll show you how to do the bottom one. It's a little bit fiddly, but it should be fine. So yeah, we're just going to go across here, the same slip stitching that I've been doing all along. Okay, so now that I've reached the bottom, so I managed to slip stitch all the way across there, we're now going to turn our work and then flip it towards us like this, and then we're going to do slip stitches along the bottom as well. So we did it along this side, now we're going to do it across here and across the top, and it should be very self-explanatory because it's just the same stitch that we've been doing all along. But just for the sake of it, I will do a couple stitches. And I was saying that it's a little bit fiddly because of how you have to turn it and make sure that all the seams line up. So you have to make sure that all the seams of your squares are in line. We don't want anything looking, you know, random or out of place. We want this bag to look very seamless. So just make sure you're matching everything up accordingly. Now that we've reached the end and we have slip stitched all the way around, we're going to just fasten off, and then we just have one more piece to connect. As you can see, this bag has gotten a lot bigger now that we've added the thing that goes all the way around. Let me just adjust the camera so you guys can see it properly. So yeah, this is what it's looking like, and it's a really good size. I'm gonna like give you guys a size comparison later for the bag that I made previously. The bag that I made previously is a little bit bigger than this one. I just did one less round for this bag, and then the other one I did 6 rounds, but for each granny square here it's only 5 rounds. Guys, the tiredness is getting to me. It's almost 9 p.m. Anyways, let's just finish up this tutorial, and I'll finish some of this video tomorrow as well. I cannot do everything tonight, but we'll just sew everything together. Then I need to relax and probably like watch TV or something. So here is the last piece that we need to attach. So these 2 bottom squares line up with these 2 bottom squares, and then these 2 side squares match up with these 2 side squares. So all you need to do is attach your yarn, slip stitch all the way around, just like we're doing for the other piece. And if you need any reference on how to do it, you can just like rewind the video. It's the exact same process. So bottom squares, side squares, fasten off, same stitch. And I will come back to you guys when I have gone all the way around. Okay, so this is what the bag is looking like so far. It's really coming together. So we have a few finishing touches, like we're going to make a border around the top just so it's nice and neat, and we also need to make the handles as well. So I'm just going to turn this the right way around so we don't see all the loose ends. You can sew in the loose ends, but I'm not going to because I'm going to add lining inside the bag anyway. So yeah, this is what the front of the bag looks like. You can just adjust it accordingly because it does look a bit crazy right now. Okay, so yeah, this is it. So now we're going to make the double crochet or half double crochet border. It's up to you what stitch you want to use. Okay, so to make the border, we're going to grab our brown yarn and make a slip knot. And then we're going to grab our bag. You can start wherever you want. I'm just going to start here at the edge of the bag in line with this seam. So I'm going to place my crochet hook inside the first stitch and then grab my slip knot and attach the yarn. And instead of chaining 1, we're going to chain 2. So chain 1, 2, and I'm going to insert my first half double crochet into this stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into this first stitch, pull up a loop and yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we want to do that in every single stitch across the top of this bag. So hopefully you guys are familiar with half double crochets. So we're going to do one more together, and then I'm going to leave you guys to go all the way around the bag, and I'll show you how to start the new round as well. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, and then yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, insert the hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then we're just going to continue. Okay, so we're going to do 3 rounds of our half double crochet borders. So once you reach the end of the round, it should look like this. So I'm just going to put my hook back in, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 2 that we made at the beginning of the round. Pull up a loop and pull that straight through. And to start a new round, we're just going to chain 2 and then half double crochet in the same stitch. And now we're going to just half double crochet in every single stitch all the way around, and you want to do 3 rounds of these half double crochets in total. You can do as many as you want, but I feel like 3 is the perfect amount, especially because we have to also install the straps, and I don't want to install the straps that are like directly on any of the granny squares. So yeah, I'm just going to continue doing this 3 more times all the way around. Okay, so this is what your bag should be looking like now that we've done 3 rounds of half double crochets. This is what it looks like. It's very, very neat, and it adds a nice little border to your bag. So now we can start making the bag straps. Okay, so to start making the bag straps, we're going to need our brown yarn. You can also use the cream one or the white one, it's completely up to you. So now we're just going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to show you how to make these bag straps that don't really stretch that much when you add things inside. Like, this method is honestly a life changer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with a chain of 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so once you've chained 6, we're going to be doing a Tunisian crochet. So you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch. So we're going to skip the first stitch and go straight into the second stitch. So I'm going to place my hook inside there, pull up a loop. Now we're going to go into the next stitch from the hook, and then we're going to pull up a loop. So we should have 3 loops on our crochet hook. I'll do a couple rows with you guys together. Then we're going to go into the next stitch and then pull up a loop. Next stitch, pull up a loop, and then in our last stitch, we're going to insert our hook. It's a little bit fiddly. And then we're going to pull up a loop. Okay, so we should have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on our hook. So now what we're going to do is to start the Tunisian crochet. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, 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 and finally yarn over and pull through 2. So this is row 1 of our straps done. So now to start row 2, you do not go into this stitch over here. We do not go into the first stitch. So we're going to skip this little piece here and go into this. So we have a front piece. We're not going to go into individual stitches. We're going to go into the front loop of all of our stitches. So we have one here, one here, one here, and it's going to be a lot clearer when I actually start crocheting. So into that second front loop, we're going to place our hook inside, pull up a loop, and then in the next one, we're just going to find it, insert our hook, pull up a loop, and then go into the next one, pull up a loop, next one, pull up a loop, and then we have one more of those, which is at the end of the round, which is a little bit hard to see, but it should be there. Okay, now we're going to pull up a loop. And this is what it should look like now. So now we're going to yarn over, pull through two, 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 and lastly yarn over and pull through two. So this is what row 2 looks like. And now we're just going to continue this pattern until you have your desired length for your bag strap. So remember, we're not going into this first stitch, we're going to skip that and go straight into the next one. Pull up a loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop. These little front loops will be easier for you guys to see on your own work. But as you can see, I'm putting my hook into this little section there, this one, and then the one right at the end. So let's just finish this round together. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, go into the next one, pull up a loop, and then the one right at the very end, insert our hook and pull up a loop. Now I'm going to yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. I'm sure you guys get the gist now. And that is how we do a Tunisian crochet. So this is row 3, but obviously this is not long enough for a bag strap. So we're going to continue doing all these rows until we get our desired length. It's the same pattern all the way along, and then in a bit I'll show you guys how to fasten off. My dad is on the phone, so hopefully you can't hear him. I'll try and talk louder than him, but I did close my bedroom door, so hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. Okay, so I finished making the strap for my bag, and it's a really nice length. So now we're going to fasten off together. So once you've done your final row, what we're going to do is still go into those little front loops and then make a slip stitch. And then in the next one, we're going to pull up a loop, make a slip stitch. In the next one, we're going to do exactly the same, slip stitch, and then just do that until you reach the very end. So I have one more to make, which is over here. Make sure it's just the front loop only. And then pull that through. Now we're going to chain one and then fasten off. And you need to make another strap as well for your other, so you can attach it to the other side of your tote bag. So here I went ahead and made another one, and they're both the exact same size. You guys can make your strap as long as you want or as short as you want, but I like my bags to kind of hit my hip area, so I feel like this length is perfect. I don't have a tape measure, otherwise I would have like told you guys how long this is. In fact, let me go and look for one. I think there's one in my mom's room. Okay, so now that we have these straps nicely crocheted and also the ends are nicely woven in as well, we're going to now attach these straps to the front of the bag. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to add lining, so I'm not gonna weave in these ends from when I was slip stitching the squares together. We can just hide it. So I recommend that you also line your bag as well, just so it's also sturdy, so you can use it properly. And my dad is still on the phone, so okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip our work over. So as you can see on this side, we have a very bumpy side. Then on this side, we have a nice woven pattern. So we're going to put the woven pattern face down on the bag. And I'm just going to put it like here. You can just eyeball it just to see where you want your straps to go. And I'm going to grab a pin and then pin it on my work like so. And then I'm going to grab my other side and also kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to put it like here. And then I'm going to grab another pin and then pin it onto there like so. And this is a really good position. As you can see, it's kind of the same distance from both sides where the strap is, but if you want it more accurately, you can use a ruler. So let's measure this. So it's 7 centimeters from this side, and this one is, oh, it's 6 centimeters. Okay, should we move it down a bit? No, it's like kind of 7. Okay, let's just move it in a little bit, just a very tiny bit. There we go. And then let's measure it. Yeah, now it's 7. Okay, Now it's 7 centimeters on both sides. So now before I sew this on, I'm going to just flip my work over and then grab my other strap and then pin it the same way that I did. So I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to hold it up like this just so I can get a rough estimate of where it is. I really don't like measuring things in general, so yeah, I'm just a very, very good eyeballer. So we're gonna pin that over there and then grab the next strap and then place it here as well and then pin it. Okay, so that's the bag nicely pinned together. I'm just holding it up just so I can see how accurate it is. And it looks really, really good. I know you guys can't see behind the camera. I'm just holding it just so I can see that it's in the right position. But yeah, it looks really good from where I'm sitting. You guys will see the final bag like when I'm done with it. But yeah, it's really good. Okay, so now we need to attach these straps onto the actual bag. So I'm going to use slip stitches. Surprise, surprise. I'm not going to sew. So I'm going to grab my yarn and then I'm going to make a slip knot like so. Now I'm going to just grab my bag, flip this towards me, remove the pin, place my crochet hook through the strap and then also through the bag, and then grab my slip knot and then I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to pull the yarn through, secure it with a chain 1, and now I'm just going to slip stitch all the way along the top of the strap so I can connect it to the bag. You want to make sure that it's relatively tight as well because you do not want the straps to become loose. I'm sorry if you can hear all this noise in the background. My window's open because it's so hot in my room and the bin collectors just arrived, so yeah. Okay, so once you've slip stitched all the way across, we're going to chain 1 and then cut the yarn and fasten off. I'm going to pull the yarn really tight, and then you want to repeat this process on all of our straps. So I just did this one. Now I'm going to attach it on this side and then also the back side as well. Okay, so the bag is complete. I attached the straps and also I decided to weave in all the ends even on the inside of the bag just so they don't see through the lining. It's not really a big deal though because you won't really see inside the bag like that, but I just want everything to be nice and neat. So before I show you the finished bag, I am going to add some lining inside because I actually want to take this out today to the library. So I'm going to add some lining and also make some keychains later on, and you can see the finished keychains on my Instagram or TikTok page. So yeah, I'm gonna add some lining. I have a tutorial on how to add lining already, so I will link that in the description box below and in the eye in the corner of the screen. So I'll get back to you guys very, very soon. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I really, really hope that you guys found it helpful and that you enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.